That looks like a railroad junkyard. Awesome. Today's adventure brings us to the Allagash Wilderness Waterway, where we will be searching for the infamous ghost trains. We're at the Talos checkpoint. We informed them of our intentions and what we hope to find, and they told us that a lot of people go in looking for these trains but cannot find them, and they had no information for us. But to go beyond this point is $12 a piece, so at $24, failure is not an option.
So we're heading over Chamberlain Lake, over this little bridge. The waterways are on both sides.
Wow, that water is calm. I hope Eagle Lake is going to be the same way. All right, we did safely arrive at the parking area. During our research, we had heard all the horror stories of people getting flat tires and suggesting carrying at least 2 spares because some people got 2 flats and damage to the vehicle and whatnot. But we did make it safely in. Hopefully, good luck is going to stay with us to get back out of here because, wow, we are in the middle of nowhere. Now, the original plan was to bushwhack into the trains, but we decided that it might be easier to try kayaking to them. So we're going to put in at the stream right over here. All right, we've launched, and I'm stuck. All right, we've launched. We are riding the current. This is gonna be so much fun coming back. Look at this current. Jeez. Boy, remember how calm Chamberlain Lake was this morning? All right, we've gone about 6/10 of a mile. We need to cut through over there. Yeah, but the waves are absolutely insane. We have a headwind. I mean, I'm drenched. Well, we're in almost 2 miles. As you can see, this is serious headwinds. Look at those waves it's causing. Try paddling a kayak in this. That'd be a workout. Oh, look, it's turning me around. Having fun?
It's a workout.
All right, Eagle Lake proved to be a little bit much to try and kayak. Look at that. So, it's become a bushwhack now. We threw the kayaks in, and we're gonna walk the rest of the way.
So this is what the woods looked like. It's kind of open, kind of nice. We have 1.48 to get to the trains. Hopefully it'll stay like this, because we're really not dressed for bushwhacking.
So we're continuing to work our way on the bushwhack, but I don't know if you can hear it or not. Out there in the water, that wind is not stopping. Absolutely crazy. I mean, we gotta dump my kayak before we get back in because, well, one of those waves hit me and completely came in. All right, so we're back on the water. We got within 3/4 of a mile while we were doing a bushwhack, and then we just hit a wall. We were not dressed for bushwhacking like we normally would be. We were getting cuts, we were getting hurt, so we're back in the kayak. Well, we must be getting close. All right, there's a twisted piece of metal right next to rail. And I believe that we have found the entry point that we're looking for. Excellent. Let's go check it out. We no sooner stepped out of the kayaks and we have artifacts here to welcome us to the area. Now, checking these out, I'm going to guess that they came from the conveyors that were here. And the conveyors were used to take the pulpwood out of Eagle Lake, raise it up 25 feet, and then drop it into the awaiting train cars that would be located up here on the loading area. So we moseyed on up to the loading area, and wow, this is a artifacts gold mine for us. Every time we did research on the Allagash ghost trains, all that came up was pictures of the 2 locomotives, and trust me, we will find those before we leave the area. But these are the train cars, and we did not expect to see them. Well, train cars, pretty much what's left of them. We knew that they were here and what they were used for, so let's take a step back in time to 1927. That was the year that the Great Northern Paper Company had acquired a freshly cut forest railway by the Madawaska Company, going from Eagle Lake all the way down to, I'm going to tear this up, all the way down to the Umbazookas Lake. Now, the need for the train was to get the pulpwood out of Eagle Lake, drop it off into the Umbazookas Lake, and then eventually log drive it down to the west branch of the Penobscot River to their mill in Millnocket to make paper. And that being said, on June 1st, 1927, was the first successful run of the brand new Eagle Lake and West Branch Railroad. Of course, though, stepping back into 2016, you can see that the last 89 years, well, have not been good to these train cars at all. And Mother Nature does have a way of taking back what was once rightfully hers. And if we're gonna leave a bunch of crap in her way, she's gonna take that too. Eagle Lake is right there. You can't even see this stuff from the water. Wow. Have I said wow? Holy moly. Now, if you have a train laying around your house and you need some parts, just saying. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. And hey, check it out. Or shall we go check it out? So, Cheryl described this as a plant pot. Now, other than a plant pot, it does appear to be some sort of a steam boiler. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with the tramway that was here before the railroad was. And yes, we do intend to go check out the tramway area also today. And beyond the plant pot, came up, I found rails. They head down that way, and they head down this way. Let's walk down this way first. I'm still following the tracks, but if you come out here, look everywhere. Look on the ground and in the trees, because you never know what you're going to see. All right, looking at the map, these are the tracks that go to the Umbazookas Lake, and we're not traveling 13 miles to get there. So we're going to turn around and head down the other way. Following the tracks from the potted plant that Cheryl dubbed. Seems to have been a switcher here at one time, track switcher. Following it along, you can see that some of the tracks would have gone off to the left. Some of them would have gone off to the right. And if I zoom down to where my lovely wife is, there's one of the locomotives. And there they are, the Allagash ghost trains. Cheryl, they do exist. Now, back when these two locomotives were fully functional, they would each carry 10 to 12 train cars, and each of those cars could hold 12 cords of pulp wood. They would take the 13-mile track out to the Umbazookas Lake, and I know I'm saying that wrong, and again, I apologize, and then they would return. And what you're looking at now is train number 2. It was built by Brooks Locomotive Works in December of 1901, and was purchased by Great Northern Paper in 1928 and used until 1933. And a little bit of history on the railroad. Now, with the addition of lighting over in the loading area, made it possible for these trains to run day and night. And because of that, they were pulling 6,500 cords of pulpwood out of this area on average per week. Now, because of this operation, the Great Northern Paper Company became the manufacturer of 20% of all of the paper produced in the United States. And what we're looking at now is the other train up here, train number 1, built by the Schenectady Locomotive Works in June of 1897. It was purchased by Great Northern Paper Company in 1926 and was used until 1933. All good things must come to an end. So with the decrease in the demand for paper through the Great Depression, they had to shut the railroad down in 1933 after hauling over 1 million cords of pulpwood out of here. The two locomotives were put in the engine house, figuring that the economy would eventually get better and they could start the railroad up again. But that didn't happen until after World War II, and by then it was cheaper and more practical to just haul the wood by truck. All right, now in 1969, due to vandalism and fear of people hurting themselves on all the old structures that were left around, it was decided that the structures should be burnt down. How cool would it have been to have been here before they burnt everything down in 1969, hon? Oh, wait a minute, you would have only been 1. It's kind of a long trip for a baby, don't you think? Well, anyway, there was a miscommunication, and they did not realize at the time that the engine house was being leased by Irving Paper and Pulp, with the two locomotives in it. The ranger got there, and he did what they told him. He burnt everything. All right, so there you have the story of the Eagle Lake West Branch Railroad. The little railroad that could, for 6 whole years.
And for those of you who think we forgot about the tramway.
Hold, please. Welcome to the Chamberlain Lake side of the tramway. Now, if you do the bushwhack correctly, you should walk right into this area. And when you get here, you would bang a right, go a little over half a mile, and be down there at the ghost trains. Now, the tramway was developed over 100 years ago, 1902 to be exact, and it was used to get the lumber from the Churchill and Eagle Lakes down here to Chamberlain Lake to be log driven down to Bangor. And all this is essentially just a small railroad. It's on a 22-inch gauge track. It's being pulled by a loop cable that has trucks attached to it. Now, with the trucks' R's, they're pieces of metal with teeth cut into them. The logs would be placed on top of them, and the teeth would hold it in place while it made its journey from Eagle Lake, 3,000 feet, to be dumped into Chamberlain Lake. And then the trucks would ride on the bottom of the tramway, going back out to Eagle Lake. All right, so now in 2011, a group of volunteers came out and they rebuilt the 25-foot section. What do you think of this, hon?
It looks great.
Now, if you go out to the ghost trains from here, as you're walking along the path up there, keep looking off to your left and you're going to see glimpses of the original tramway. All right, now the tramway itself is actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It just seems funny that there's no defined way to get out here other than by bushwhacking, paddling, or snowmobile. And Cheryl and I would just like to personally thank everybody who has had anything to do with the preservation of the ghost trains and to this tramway. This has been on our bucket list for a very long time, and you've all made it a very, very memorable time for us.
Thank you.
All right, so it's been a heck of an adventure between kayaking, trying to bushwhack, going back to the kayak, but we got here. The Allagash ghost trains.
They're awesome.
They are, extremely. So until our next adventure.
The end.
Bye.